Good afternoon, children, and welcome back to this biology class. Hope you're all fine. Okay, right. Shall we go into the chapter? Okay. So last week we were discussing about kingdom Monera, right? That is the bacterial group. Now, what can you say about the bacteria? General character about bacteria. They are the most primitive organisms. They have a very simple structure, cell structure. They do not have a nuclear membrane, and so they are termed as prokaryotes, right? Prokaryotic organisms. And what about their nutrition? They are either autotrophic, that is the blue-green algae, cyanobacteria. They are autotrophs, and also other bacteria are heterotrophic. Okay. Now, what are the two types of bacteria? Bacteria are classified into two, the Archaebacteria and Eubacteria. What do you mean by Archaebacteria, children? These are the bacteria which can survive in extremes of climatic conditions. For example, very high salt content. I told it they are present even in the volcanic lava. They have been isolated from hot springs. Okay, so they may be either halophiles, which means the bacteria which can thrive in extreme salt content, salt concentration. Okay, and thermoacidophiles are the bacteria which can survive in extremes of temperature and also acidic medium. Okay, and methanogens are the bacteria which can live in which are present in the guts of the ruminants. Who are the ruminants, children? These are the cow, goat, and all those animals which are herbivorous animals, right? Okay, and also present in the marshy areas. Okay, how they are able to survive in this harsh climate? That is, the bacteria have a cell wall, you know that. So besides the cell wall, these archaebacteria have the cell wall made up of an extra coating of sterols or lipids or other substances which help them to survive, which help them to live in such harsh climate. Okay, right. And acidophiles which can survive in high acidic condition. They are able to do because they have special type of enzymes in their cell or in their bodies which help to carry out their reaction even in high acidic concentration. Clear, children? Okay. Now coming to the eubacteria. Who are the eubacterians? They are the eubacteria means true bacterias. Eu means true bacterias, right? Okay, but they may be either autotrophs or heterotrophs. These are the bacteria which plays an important role in our life. Okay, what all things they do for us, or they influence our lives. How do these influence our lives? They cause diseases in human beings. They convert milk into curd. Antibiotics are produced. Okay, right. All these are examples of these eubacteria. Okay, and these eubacteria can be, I told you, they can be either autotrophs or heterotrophs. Right. Autotrophs can be also, or they can be either photoautotroph or chemoautotroph. What do you mean by photoautotrophs? That is, they have chlorophyll-like substance or pigment in their cells which can capture the light and release energy. Right. What about chemosynthetic bacteria or chemoautotrophs? They don't use the sunlight. They are autotrophs. That means they can produce their own food, but not from sunlight, but they oxidize other chemical substances like sulfur or sulfate or other minerals and release energy from them, and they utilize it. Okay, and the heterotrophs may be either parasitic, which cause diseases. Parasites, they enter the body or they stay outside the body and cause diseases. And saprophytes. Who are saprophytes? They depend on the decaying matter. These are the ones which will help in decomposing the waste materials around us. Okay, right. Children, coming to archaebacteria. They live in harsh habits such as extreme salt areas, which are halophiles, hot springs, thermoacidophiles, and marshy areas, which are called as methanogens. Why are they called as methanogens? Because they produce methane gas in the gut. In the gut means the digestive system of those animals, and also in the marshy areas. Okay. Now, archaebacteria, why they can survive in these harsh habitat? I told that they have a different cell wall structure. Okay, right. And methanogens are present in the guts of ruminant animals, for example, cows, buffaloes, etc. And they produce methane, which can be used as biogas from the dung of these animals. Right. Okay, coming to eubacteria now. Now they are the true bacteria, I told you, having a rigid cell wall. And if they may have a flagellum, not everyone doesn't have a flagellum. Some of them have flagellum if they are motile. Motile means if they can, if they are want to move, they use the help of flagellum. So they include autotrophs and heterotrophs. Okay, right. Now coming to the photosynthetic autotrophs, example cyanobacteria. Clear? Children, these cyanobacteria are, I told you, they have chlorophyll, like similar to that of the green plants, and they can use the sunlight and synthesize their own food. Okay, now coming to the structure of these cyanobacteria or blue-green algae. Okay, and they may be sometimes unicellular, they may be multicellular, filamentous like this oscillatoria, right? Okay, filamentous, or what is that? They may be colonial. What do you mean by colonial, children? They live in groups. They live in colonies or groups. Okay, and one more special feature about these organisms are that they produce a gelatinous sheath around itself. They secrete a slimy secretions. Okay, and when now it's rainy season, when you cannot step on your pavement, you may slip and fall, isn't it? That is because of these cyanobacteria, or these algae or these cyanobacteria secrete a mucilaginous slimy secretion around themselves, right? And if they are multicellular, they are filamentous, they have a special kind of cells called as heterocyst. What is that? Heterocyst. And what is the need of heterocyst? What is the purpose? It is in these cells that they help to fix atmospheric nitrogen. Okay, now can you give some examples of cyanobacteria you might have studied in your lower classes, 9th and 10th and all? Yes, they are Nostoc, Anabina, Oscillatoria. All these are the cyanobacteria. Okay, now coming to chemosynthetic autotroph. Okay, so how do they are also autotrophs, you know that, but they get energy from other substances, or that is they use other minerals or the other chemical substances to oxidize them and to release energy. Okay, so these are the examples of these chemosynthetic bacteria. For example, sulfur bacteria, purple sulfur bacteria, all these are examples of chemosynthetic bacteria or chemosynthetic autotrophs. Clear? Okay. Right. Now coming to the heterotrophic bacteria. As you know, they are the most abundant in nature. The majority are important decomposers. Okay. Now, how do they influence? As we already discussed, just one more time we will go through the points. How do they influence our life? Okay. So, they are used to make curd from milk. They are used in the production of antibiotics. They help in fixing nitrogen in leguminous plants. Can you name the bacteria which fixes atmospheric nitrogen in leguminous plants? Yes? Yeah, it is Plasmodium. It's also a bacteria, right? So helps to fix atmospheric nitrogen. Some are pathogens. Who are pathogens, children? Who are pathogens? Pathogens are organisms which cause diseases in other animals and plants and human beings, etc. Clear? Right. Children, when you're talking about each of these kingdoms, you have to say their structure, their nutrition, and also their reproduction, the shapes and sizes, etc. All these things you have to say about each and every phylum. Now, how do these bacteria reproduce? Yes, any idea how do they reproduce? Mainly they reproduce by fission. What is fission? Fission is just the bacterial cell splitting into two cells. Okay, or binary fission. You know what is binary fission? Splitting just the body into two cells or two organisms or daughter cells. Or it can be multiple fission. Okay, that's the simplest and that is the usual way it reproduces. Even other methods are also found. Okay, under unfavorable conditions, they also produce spores, right? And they also have a kind of sexual reproduction where there is exchange of materials between two organisms, or if it is a filamentous type of bacteria, they come together, close together, they may exchange materials, because we may consider one of that to be a male gamete, the other can be a female gamete, and there is a fusion of cytoplasm and fusion of nucleus, and from that zygote like thing is formed, and from that a new organism may arise. So that is sexual reproduction, which is called as conjugation. It is called as conjugation in lower animals, right? Okay. Now coming to, I told you about mycoplasmas, right? Now what are these mycoplasmas? First, long back they were studied as bacteria or under bacteria. But later They were known to belong to a separate category of organisms which is called as the mycoplasmas. Now, what is the difference between mycoplasma and bacteria? These are the smallest living organisms. The smallest living organisms, smaller than the bacteria. Okay. Now, what is the difference I am telling? That is, they do not have a cell wall, unlike the bacteria. Clear? But why they were studied under bacteria long back? Because these organisms do not have a nuclear membrane. So they are also prokaryotes. That is why they are studied along with the bacteria. Clear? Okay. And so they are organisms without a cell wall. They are the smallest living things, and they can survive without oxygen. They can be anaerobic. Okay, and it causes many diseases in human beings like PPLO, pleuropneumonia like organisms. It causes pneumonia in human beings. And mainly in plants, it causes witch's broom. You know what is a witch's broom? What is a witch's broom, children? Yeah, it has that is like this. This is the witch's broom. Okay, the leaves and the other parts are gone, and only at the tip of the stem or tip of the branch, all the leaves and all these things are arranged. So this looks like a witch's broom. Okay, so it causes like the symptoms in plants. Clear? Okay, most of the identified mycoplasmas are pathogenic. All the examples found are pathogenic in plants and animals. Clear, children? Okay, next we'll go through Protista. So children, we stop the class here. So next we will do the Protista in the next session. Clear? Okay, bye.